So I was gonna say, every time Ezra Miller commits a crime, DZ cancels a TV show.
It's
Christ.
just a knee-jerk response. Just
It's like they have to save on taxes to somehow still make that Flash movie come out.
Every stupid thing he does costs you something you love.
It's kind of shocking to me, like how accurate that list was going, or how accurate that list was that was going around saying like the 3 options that DC was considering, and lo and behold, like a couple days later, Ezra Miller comes out and apologizes for his actions. Like,
Yes, he's apologized to the people that he's killed.
yeah, that's number 1 on the list. Like he'll apologize and get mental health, and everything will return to normal for the most part until he escapes.
right.
And
Well,
no one is safe.
It is
Hello,
kind
everyone.
of
Welcome to Phantom Zone.
Yes. Well, and I was lamenting the other day in the chat. I don't mind airing this, that I felt really bad about not being in the middle of a true crime story. That was thrilling in a weird way to to know that we're in the middle of a future Manson family story.
You
But
thought
can
this was
still
like a Christopher
continue.
Dorner thing where it ends with him like
Right.
being burned alive in a cabin.
well, the other thing is
That was
like
fucking horrible. I can't.
there's a weird part of this that's like, how are they being allowed to do all this stuff, and the cops are, what are they doing?
Yeah.
Like, they know where Ezra is, so
It's
what
not like
are...
like Ezra Miller spray painted side of building and flee. It's like, no, Ezra Miller commits burglary, and it's like, okay, and then you caught him, right? And they're like, nah.
Well, that was, and the burglary was like after 17 other crimes, including child endangerment and kidnapping.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I just assume that the state hopping.
He can just
is
assault
part
people
of
and then
this.
go to court and then like fuck off and do more crimes.
Well, and I'm surprised that the FBI hasn't gotten involved because
Well,
again,
no,
like,
they are, because there's kidnapping crimes, which
Yeah,
is
I
an
would-
FBI thing, because it is,
well,
it's a
even-
weird...
right. Well, even him just or them being in Hawaii committing these crimes and then being in Maryland. Am I correct? In my New
It's
England?
in multiple
He's a
states and multiple
speedster.
countries.
I thought the liquor stealing, the one that turned into a felony, I thought that was in Vermont.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, there was
a problem right here that we
I
can't
think there was
figure out where he's committed what crime.
Exactly.
Well, my understanding is that it doesn't matter where you committed the crimes; it's you crossing state lines. Like, is that incorrect, or do you have to commit crimes?
No,
in
it depends. It depends on the crime.
Okay.
So, like, assault and burglary are not felonies; they are misdemeanors, unless it's like felony assault. The kidnapping is a felony, which is the one that connects to. He's known this girl. I believe that they're 18 now, but since they were 15, yeah, and she is indigenous, and part of their tribal law is that until they're 19, they're still kind of a minor. So her parents filed the kidnapping charges, but at some point when she was 15, she was brought over with some other members to go see the fucking Harry Potter bullshit that Ezra's in.
Oh, okay. Fantastic Beasts.
Probably the second
Yes.
or first.
And and they tried to sleep in the same bed as this 15-year-old girl.
Okay.
And that chaperone made it not happen.
I'm wondering, with this apology tour he's going to go on eventually, like, was there some sort of contract he signed where he gave them the right to shoot him full of Thorazine the minute he decides to try and do something ill? Like,
I think the money is running out. Is what this is.
I don't know.
Or some lawyer finally got to him in a coherent state and was like, you gotta turn this shit around or you're fucked. Like,
I think like Arlen has said, we're seeing the birth of like a new like Manson-esque figure if he does decide like, fuck it, I'm done, and it won't matter about the money because he'll find other people to fund his life.
Yeah.
But I still like the idea of someone with a
long
blowgun.
for a Flash movie, and this is the state of it.
DC is cursed.
We're talking about the criminal implications. star.
Well, you see,
Oh.
what happened is the head of Warner Brothers at the time, he killed Christopher Reeve, and that's where that's what caused all of this. This is it all began there, and it's just been it's been going on ever since. Just
The
constantly
you
Reeve,
mentioned that.
the
There's, like,
Reeve
I read a
fall
gambit
thing
out.
is in
today.
effect.
I read a
Yes.
thing today. There's like a possibility of like a CGI Christopher Reeves like cameo in this movie, and I'm like,
No,
you don't.
No,
that would be
no,
great.
we don't.
I feel like if you one gross, but if you really needed to, like he has an adult son that looks very much like him.
Also, they've already done the
But he works for
we're
Disney though.
paying- Yeah, they've done the we're paying respect to Christopher Reeves thing. They did it in Man of Steel, and even if you feel that movie isn't respectful of Christopher Reeves Superman, he is in there, and like there's a little image where for a second Henry is Christopher, just for a little second in like a flash thing. It's like, oh, that's cool, I guess, but like making like a weird fake
Well,
Christopher Reeve
Harold
and
Ramis
putting him on
zombie.
screen.
Well, and
Like,
it's not like they haven't had brought him back in the large picture. I don't even know who owned DC at that point. Like the show
well,
that shall not be named, he was on several episodes.
I've had it. I've
in his
had it
beforehand.
explained to me
Yeah,
in
he played actually like a very pivotal
yes,
a character in the show.
he plays a very like Miyagi type
Yeah,
figure.
he's like a Miyagi kind of Stephen Hawkins type, who's like,
Yes,
I cracked Kryptonian language, and this is a
yeah,
message for you, Kal-El.
hmm
And he has a
yeah.
whole fucking monologue that he drops.
Well, before we talk any more about that horrible show, I I kind of feel like they should just say, "All right, this is it for DC for a little while." Like, I don't think there's really much they can do to get it back on track unless they do a full
I'm
reboot.
so angry at the whole
Well-
studio that like they're like the next thing after all this, like I don't know if they announce like the big first step. I'm like, I just don't want it right now. Go away.
I mean, to kind of
Fucking angry
piggyback
at you.
off that, whatever they announce about DC, I don't care. I'm officially mad at just the whole apparatus at this point. Even aside from the DC stuff,
Yeah.
I'm like,
Oh,
fuck all
yeah.
of you. It's like, and I've been saying this in the various chats, like this is gonna turn around bad on them. If it's gonna,
Oh,
it has to,
the
unless
the
they
Batgirl
put out
stuff was like, when that started, people started turning, but then once it's like, oh no, that was literally the
The tip
canary
of
in
the
the coal
iceberg.
mine,
Yeah.
tip of the
Yeah.
iceberg. Of like,
Well,
oh no, this is just happening.
when talent starts turning on you, that's that can only go badly. You can have all the directors you want, all the producers and writers you want. When you can't get anybody to act in your movies anymore, because the actors are like, why would we work with you? Why would we ever do that?
Well,
You're
and those
just gonna screw
creatives
us
too,
over.
like the writers and artists, like why would they ever trust anything with this company ever
Yes.
again?
Exactly. No one's going to sign multi-movie contracts with them, and nobody's going to take their productions to them, even to be, distributed. No, actually, they will probably be able to squeak by on distribution, because distribution deals, if they're worked out correctly, will prevent a situation like Infinity Train being pulled off of HBO Max if you do them correctly.
I'm
But
just
still, I don't see anybody trusting them with their work ever again. It's the
I'm
opposite of the Disney problem.
I'm just envisioning the board of Netflix and
Mhm.
Hulu via Disney are just licking their lips right now. Just
Oh,
setting up
Twitter
dates
was
to
like,
It's
interview
also
everybody.
Twitter was
yeah, it's also
stepping off the chair. They've
yeah,
written like Brooks was here, and they're like, oh wait, thank you Warner Brothers, and stepping back down.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in other channels, I mean, other networks, other studios, I would take this as a chance to scoop a bunch of people up. If
Yep.
I'm Paramount right now, I'm scooping up everybody that Warner
I'm
Brothers is
Oh,
pissed off.
Amazon. I'm
Disney.
surprised Amazon isn't throwing cash
Or
around.
I mean, even the people that are really small. Like if A24 is trying to expand right now, fucking there's a
Yeah.
bunch of talent out there.
You know what? This
They'll
is the
work for
perfect time for the greatest app ever created to make a comeback.
you.
No, not Quibi.
That's exactly where it's going.
Not Quibi.
Well, that's a good no. So to make a serious point, this is a great time for the Roku channel, not to just be like a silly thing that I'm like, no, Get away from me. I'm clicking
Honestly,
the home button to make you go
Apple's
away.
another one like that could throw in like, which has
Yeah.
been interesting because like everything they've thrown money at, like they've thrown money at.
Well, Apple's going for prestige.
Oh
They're
yeah.
they're not trying to flood you with stuff. They're kind of doing a shotgun approach where they've put a lot of money in a lot of different things and they're waiting to see which hits the hardest.
Yeah, well, I was like they're just putting money in like some like huge actors and huge IPs.
Well,
And
I
the
mean,
only I feel
go
like
ahead.
Ted Lasso, which is like the biggest hit they have, has like the smallest names, but became the biggest hit because like all their other shows have like huge stars in them.
I would say Severance doesn't have huge stars. Like
I couldn't name
the
one
biggest
person in
one.
Severance.
Adam, what's his name?
Yeah, but he's still not.
No,
Like,
yeah, you're right. He's that's probably, and that's a
and
brand new
Patricia
show.
Arquette's in it, and that's it. Like those are
Yeah.
the two biggest names in that show.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
thinking more
well,
of
wait,
like the blind
I just
show.
remembered Christopher Walken's in it too. So
It's a
Yeah.
lot of it is a lot of people who are on the tip of your tongue though, where you're like, oh, where did I see that person? I saw that
Well,
person in
Yeah.
what you know.
But yeah, I guess I
Blind
was
has
thinking more like Newsroom, which has like 18 like gigantic stars in it, or
never seen it.
Never seen it, or the Momoa show, which I heard was
Well,
good.
I mean, they to your point though, they are doing that a lot. I mean, there's the show that Shining Girls, which is just like let's get Wagner Moura and Elizabeth Moss and just two of the biggest streaming stars, I would say, and just put them in a show together with
And that
Jamie
show, that
Bell.
sounds interesting too.
Yeah, it's very good. I mean,
I think it's a
very
book
simple
series.
It is.
Yeah,
I refuse
newer
to support anything with Elizabeth Moss.
No, I understand.
Wait, why?
I mean, the real quick pitch is if you
she's a
like the Invisible
Scientologist.
Man.
Oh no.
He was born into Scientology.
Yeah.
She was. Yes.
So is Beck.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, getting back to Warner Brothers, like I just the board wanted to have him come in and save them money. I don't think they realized how he was going to. Like
or they did, and in which case fuck them. Like if you realized that you were gonna destroy the foundations of your company at the moment when everybody should be realizing, oh, that's not how this works. That's not how you have reoccurring revenue. Like everybody's turning around and realizing, oh, there was a reason why The Office was on Netflix. Because it's way easier to just have them pay me and I put my thing on their service. Like it's as if everybody forgot that so many sitcoms wanted to get to 100 episodes, not because it was fun to do the 100th episode party and say you got there. It was syndication. It was getting your shows played over and over and over again, not just in the United States, but internationally.
Well, and that's connected to the one of the other things that they're doing over at HBO Discovery is they took off I thought they took off all the shows that were paying residuals, which one of the big things that HBO Max advertised themselves as was a repository for a bunch of different stuff. Wouldn't it make sense though that these shows that are being watched enough to actually have to be paying out would be worth keeping on your channel because people are watching it?
You would think so, but apparently this all goes back to the whole tax credits thing, which I'm sorry, I don't understand it. I don't like Hunter isn't here, but he was very angry about the Sesame Street thing, and that's the one where I'm like I've started to be a little bit scared now because it's only a few steps away from let's just jettison the TCM library. And that's where it's like, oh, fuck you entirely. I don't care if none of us ever want to see the Blob 1954 again. The ability should be there. We should have the option to ignore 1954's The Blob, just as a representative example. Like it's really bad for film history. This is the kind of thing that George Lucas went to Congress to get real angry and upset about. On top of the whole recoloring movies that weren't originally in color. It was about preserving film history and keeping our link to older parts of our
Well,
culture alive.
they'll gladly sell you a disc if you want to be able to watch that at any time.
Well, that's the problem though. Apparently, with this tax
No, they
write-off
can't.
thing,
Yeah,
they're
I know
not
they
allowed,
can't. Yeah,
which
yeah,
is just like it makes no sense to me. It makes absolutely no sense to me.
Well, it's because I think those laws were created for mediums that aren't like conceptually thought of this stuff yet. And they gotta
Well,
be
it's not
like,
even. It's not meant even for. Like it's meant for a building. You know,
yeah,
like it's
Yeah.
meant for like you have a building with a bunch of chairs on one floor. They're just chairs. Nobody's going to be able to sit in those chairs again. You're going to keep them in that building, but you're never going to
Gotta
use
keep
them
the
again.
shape from
So
them.
yeah, but you write them off in your taxes, and you say we're never going to use them, but they're lost value because we're promising never to use them again. But that's a chair.
yeah.
It's not a film. It's not
Well,
something that you can use in a
it's the
million different
difference.
ways.
Yeah, it's the difference of looking at these things like commodities as opposed to art.
Yep.
And they got a guy who looks at them like this is the same. I can't remember what the shit that like Mitt Romney does, where like they buy a company and just like gut it and then resell it. Like that's what
Oh,
he's
like the
doing.
Toys R
Yeah,
Us.
yeah,
Like
Bain
they did to
Capital and
FAO
all
Schwartz.
Yeah, that's the company, but yeah.
And again, that kind of makes sense in those businesses. And this is the other thing. He should know better. He should absolutely know better because Discovery as a network, half of no, not a half. I'll say 1/4 of what they do is recutting old stuff that already exists into new things. It's something that they do and something that the adult film industry really likes to do, which is the compilation, taking old episodes of Ghost Adventures and compressing them into new episodes of Ghost Adventures that only have the best moments.
Well, Arlen, that's all well and good, but I mean, I don't know. Like he said, Discovery leans more towards women, so I don't know if you can really speak about this. I mean, you're a guy. Like, you need to watch
That's
HBO
true.
Max.
I will say, like,
possibly watch Ghost Adventures ever.
Yeah.
That's for women.
Yeah. I was like, we have Discovery Plus. The only one who uses it is my wife, and like, the majority of their stuff is just cheap ass reality shows where they don't pay anybody.
Yeah.
And so, like, that's the world this guy's coming from, and he does not want to pay anybody. Like,
and here's the thing, on that side, I actually understand that side. Early on, there were decisions that he was making where I was like, okay, I get from the perspective of where he comes from. I understand why he's making those decisions. These more recent decisions make no sense to me, even in the context of who he is. It makes no sense that he comes to these conclusions based off the content I know that he's made in the past. This is a man who knowingly produced a piece of fiction and tried to sell it as reality through one of my favorite films, Demon House, wherein Zach Baggins pretends that he was blinded by a goat demon, and tries to suggest that he was truly blinded by a goat demon. He never breaks kayfabe, and he really believes that his friend got boobies tattooed onto his back because of a goat demon. And that he took pictures of himself naked because of a goat demon.
You saying never breaking kayfabe makes me realize, like, Ghost Adventures and Monster Mountain and whatever other ridiculous bullshit you and Hunter love, it's just wrestling for crypto. Crypto.
It's carny trash.
No, it clearly is. Hunter likes it more than I do. I like it to dunk on it. I like it because I think it's hilarious that somebody's like, "Yeah, let's do this." But David Zaslav is the guy that's like, "Let's do this." He's the guy.
But that's still a type of wrestling fan, the person who watches it to dunk on it.
Is.
So you guys are just watching cryptid wrestling shows. That's
but it's not as cool as a cryptid wrestling show would be.
No,
sadly,
no. I want to see Chupacabra fight the Mothman.
I was just saying, like, the easiest one is Chupacabra to be a wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
He will
He's just a very hairy Mexican guy.
we'll be pitching this to Universal Studios since they know how to market that. They know how to market the show about a chupacabra that's a wrestler. They got
And
family already, so
it'll be
they
played
can.
by Jack Black.
Mhm. Yes, yeah.
Or actually Chris Pratt, sorry. Chris Pratt is our new
Yeah, I was
voice
gonna say
on
Jack Black
Overlords.
already did that movie.
Yeah, he did. Well, he wasn't a chupacabra. But yeah. But I mean to touch back on the DC stuff briefly, like the reports that started coming out that how Batgirl tested as well as Black Adam, and they still decided to trash it. Like
That speaks to me of they wouldn't dare fuck with The Rock.
well, yeah, exactly.
That's what that is. That he
Which-
has enough clout that they're like he will
for
demolish
now.
us. Like
For
yeah.
now, Lou.
Yeah.
For now, he has enough clout. When
I'm
all of his friends are like, "We need to stop working with Warner Brothers," he's gonna. When Kevin Hart tells him, "Let's not work with Warner Brothers anymore," he's gonna listen to Kevin Hart because Kevin Hart is one of the only humans.
I wonder
who's
what he's got to have a really weird contract because he did 2 movies for them this year.
Yeah, well, he did Super Pets.
He did Super Pets, and he has Black Adam coming out.
Yeah.
Well,
and I think, and he talked
yeah.
about how they wanted to introduce, and he nixed it with the previous administration.
Black Adam and Shazam,
and he was like, "No, this is like hurting
Well,
both characters."
his reasoning is both dumb and stupid at the same time, but I really don't want to. I don't want to go into it too much.
But I don't think he was wrong, or like the outcome wasn't wrong.
This is why I say stupid and smart at the same time. I think
well, you actually said stupid and
dumb.
Stupid, I meant to say stupid and smart at the same time. It's because I don't think he understands why it's cool for characters to just show up for 2 minutes. Like he doesn't understand the Star Fox of it all, or the Charlize Theron at the end of Multiverse. Like he doesn't get that. He doesn't understand how that works and how that would be.
Black Adam's also been his vanity project that he's been working on for a literal decade.
Yes.
So
the thing is, though, like Black Adam is not an anti-hero.
No, they've bent over backwards in the last like
villain.
the last 6 years. They've bent over backwards to try to make him that, and it just never works.
No,
and I gotta say, I love the DC fans who are in comments and on Twitter being like, "No, he's like the Doctor Doom of DC," and it's like,
no, he's not.
No, also,
planet.
I am still shocked of like how we're dancing around the fact that he's Dwayne Johnson playing a
man of
maybe
Arabic.
one of the top 2 or 3 most famous Middle Eastern characters.
Yep.
I don't even know if I could name a technically. I only have one, and it's like a deep cut X-Men character.
Yeah, but I mean but I'm talking like that would have to be DC though specifically. So like,
and they're all just related to him. Like that's
yeah. That's I didn't even really think about that. That's fucked up. Good job, DC.
It's really weird because have we just decided at some point that we're okay with people with a Pacific island? I think I don't know what the larger umbrella term is.
Well, he's
Austronesian.
And he's mixed too.
The broader group. I'm trying to think of what it's called, but whatever it is. Have we just decided that they're the new group that we can cast as any kind of brown person? And we're just going down the list. Is that because this is something that is still not allowed, but people are like, okay, like nobody gets nearly as angry about this as they do about say
he's really the only one that gets cast like that though.
Yeah.
Well, no, because there's still
Momoa doesn't get cast, and I guess like
Momoa's kind of on the line. I guess
he's Game of Thrones character, but they're like, I don't know how.
Even then, they're not necessarily supposed to be Middle Eastern. They're just supposed to like, they're supposed to like
just desert people.
That right?
Yeah, like Bedouins of some sort.
Yeah. But like, he's never really playing anybody that's not.
I mean, the other guy that gets away with it is Cliff Curtis. He still gets away with it. He's played everything recently. In recent years, he's played. I think he's The Rock's brother. But he even then in the Fast movies, they're playing their actual ethnicity somewhat. They're actually playing people from American Samoa. So like even then, that's at least accurate. But like Cliff
And Vin
Curtis
Diesel
is played. I mean,
fucking
right,
somewhere.
Vin Diesel is
from the streets.
But
depends
Diesel's
on the
just
actor.
he's not claiming anything, but he's also not stating,
Yeah.
Right.
and he's
Mhm.
not doing a Steven Seagal, but he's
Oh,
not
Christ.
doing a Steven Seagal.
Well, I think we're also ignoring one of the most famous actors. It was what's his fucking face from Short Circuit 2, who
Oh
what,
my god!
That's different. That's just round face.
what are you talking
That's
about? Wait,
just
you're telling me that gentleman was not of a
the
Eastern
guy,
Indian descent?
the
Wait,
guy
He's
who
not
what?
played the
any
villain
kind of
in
brown.
Hackers,
What's that guy's name? Fisher Stevens. He's
Fisher
not.
Stevens. Yes, I
He's
know.
the
I know.
whitest white that could
I know he
possibly
is.
exist.
He
I
actually
think.
directed a really good documentary about the killing off of orcas and dolphins. But yeah,
Did he
that
really?
yes, he did. He actually, I think it won an Oscar for something a few years, like the year it came out.
Shit.
I want to say it's called The Cove, something like that.
I've heard of
oh,
the Cove.
he did the Cove. I
I
didn't
think
know that.
he was
That's-
involved with that, if I
The
remember
Cove is
correctly.
very famous and very brutal of showing like specifically like the Japanese fishing of dolphins.
He's done
Yeah,
DiCaprio docs. One of those. One of the. Because DiCaprio's been doing that a lot with his and the Cove. Yeah, and the Cove.
Wow, he is
yeah,
still working. He's in
director.
Succession, apparently.
Yeah, he is. He's
Mhm.
great in it. Yeah, he did direct The Cove. But anyways, yeah, I don't know. Like I like seeing Atom Smasher and Hawkman and
Right.
who is Pierce Brosnan playing? Dr. Fate.
Dr. Fate,
Yeah.
and is
Yeah.
it Cyclone or I don't even
I
know
don't
that.
know who the last person is. And it's cool seeing them, but I don't know, just from these trailers, I'm not getting the best vibe on earth. Like I'm not
I don't
really,
understand the story.
yeah. I'm not really
Like,
sure
who
what's
the fuck
happening.
is Black Adam fighting? Did they have
I
they
don't.
said?
It looks like just
Oh
random.
no,
Like,
isn't he
No,
fighting Helen Mirren?
I'm
Oh, no, that's
No,
the
that's
Shazam
Shazam
movie.
too.
No, that's just. I'm assuming that we're supposed to understand wherever the movie is set, that is like
Kandak.
that it's some sort of like semi-modern oppressive government. I think that's what we're supposed to assume, and that he has come back and he's not happy with this oppressive government that is in power, just based off the trailers. And
he can
Well,
replace it with his own form of
based-
oppressive government.
Exactly.
Well, that's
Right,
and yeah, and that's the first 30 seconds of the movie because
Yeah.
he's got god powers.
Yeah.
I get-
Like
well,
It's
and-
literally like all his. It's like, oh, he comes back, he kills everybody. It's like I'm Teth Adam.
it must
I'm here to make us
be-
awesome.
I mean, I have to assume that whoever is in power that we haven't seen, they must be some like real high level DC villain in disguise, right?
oh, so
It's
somebody
some-
Black Adam would have worked with at one point or another in a
Right.
storyline in the
I don't even like
comics.
what other character like he's so connected to Shazam. I'm like,
It
who
has
is
to be
he like?
You know what else is funny with this whole
character,
like this
it-
whole aggressive push these an anti-hero is like they keep doing these weird versus Superman teases and it's really bizarre to me.
Yeah, because that didn't work out so well last time you guys did it. I don't know
Well,
why
and-
you're pushing for it again.
I don't understand like the whole thing in the trailer of like superheroes don't kill. And then I'm like, you understand that in this universe, which is supposed to be the same universe, I guess, you started these movies off with a character who kills their main villain. And it's a huge plot point. That
It made an
hasn't
entire other
really
movie about how many people died in their fight.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like at this point, making a movie where that's your central thesis makes absolutely fucking no sense in any way whatsoever if it's the same universe at
Well,
all.
when is Flash supposed to come out?
After the
Next October.
After Black Adam?
yes,
okay.
Is it
after Black
between?
Adam.
It's between Black Adam and Shazam 2.
No,
I thought Shazam 2 was
2
this
coming
year.
out like right after. It's coming out like weeks after Black Adam.
Okay.
That is
And
interesting.
what about Aquaman 2? Do we know where that's at? I'm trying to get a general timeline.
They haven't
was
even
end of
started
the year.
filming that, right?
It was it's basically done. It was going to
Yeah.
come out at the end of the year, but they moved it to next
Okay.
summer.
Okay, so all of this is going to come out before the Flash movie, correct?
I
I
think
think
so.
so.
Then I think the Flash is going to completely reboot the DC universe, and they're going to go from there.
Well, that's what they had always said, that because it's supposed to be a Flashpoint movie.
I mean,
I
they
get
said
that,
that
but
many times that it was going to
but
use parts of Flashpoint. Yeah.
I feel like they would have still held on to stuff that they really liked for whatever inane reasons, and they need
they
a
make sense.
clean break.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I agree. I think a clean break is good. And I agree with the point that was brought up way earlier about just taking a break from making anything
Yes.
might be a good idea. And letting people miss the concept of DC movies again might be a big help.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as we look back on them with some amount of humor, the Nolan movies were a big deal, and they came after a long period of the only DC being Smallville, which Lou is an expert on. So, like,
They were also consistently good, to say what you will
yeah.
about Dark Knight Rises. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's still a good movie in there.
Yes, absolutely.
And the
Lou,
consistency is the thing. What's that?
I said, Lou, bite your tongue.
Oh,
I'm
and
being
that's
quiet.
and that is the thing that I don't think they took from those movies, is that it's not that it was just Batman, it's that there was a consistent quality level to them, regardless of if you liked the third story or not. Like, there was still it was still a well-made film.
In the middle of all that, though, was Superman Returns in Green Lantern.
Yeah,
Green Lantern was divorced from everything, though.
It wasn't supposed to be.
Really?
No,
That was
well,
after the fact.
Well, there have been many times behind the scenes where they've been like, maybe this is an extended universe. Maybe this is going to link to this thing. Maybe this will be a part of this. And the only reason that Bale didn't come back as Batman is because he said he wouldn't do any more movies with Nolan, and Nolan didn't want that universe to continue. Which, while I understand that choice, I can't look back at it now and not say maybe you should have let people build on it. Maybe they should have built off that tree that was already existing, because at the very least, people would have given the benefit of the doubt to whatever came next a little bit more, I think.
Well,
I don't
that's
know.
the thing. They tried to take, and we've talked about this to death, so I'll keep it short, but they took the worst aspects from those movies, or the worst lessons you can learn, and tried to apply them, and it just
dark and gritty. We need to go darker and grittier.
Yeah. And I mean, and it's the Goyer just wrote a Goyer movie, and whatever you feel about that didn't work for the
Man
character.
of disappointment.
That's in his business card.
Jesus Christ.
I think I pulled up the time, so it's Black Adam is in like 2 months. So October. Shazam is in December. And then the Flash is the next June. But no, Aquaman's before that. Aquaman's in March. Then Flash is in June.
Oh, I didn't realize it was March. I thought it was even
And
further out.
Blue Beetle is in August.
Oh man, that movie better be careful.
Like, how is that movie not hit the chopping block?
It already was moved to theaters, I guess, and I think that there is like a very. I really think it is this.
I think they would face so much like racial backlash.
Yeah, true.
Like they can push Batgirl aside and just say the movie wasn't out yet, and we're not necessarily all in favor of women leads, even though Wonder Woman exists. But that last one though wasn't as good, so maybe we shouldn't trust the women to be in movies.
They made one bad movie. That's it. It's over.
Yep. Forever. Forever.
No more women's in the films.
I mean, I think some of that too is people are kind of starting to get sick of Gal Gadot. Honestly.
Well,
I think there's
she
a lot
didn't
of
help
that
the
as well.
situation
No,
during
What
the
do you
she
mean?
did
pandemic.
not.
Singing Imagine during COVID didn't help her situation?
That was like 2 years ago.
I'm so glad I didn't see that thing.
Jesus
My God,
Christ.
it was. Oh my God.
That's
That was
I
March 2020.
I
I
just
saw it
rubber
after the
banded out
fact.
of my body and then back into it. It was like,
March 2020, we were just going into lockdown. Ezra Miller, we were all looking forward to their Flash movie. They had committed no crimes, kidnapped
well,
no people.
no, the choking video had come out by then, I believe. That happened
Uh,
early in the
yes,
pandemic.
that was January or something like that. That first video. Yeah.
That's
Yes.
the thing. Later on, that choking video, I thought I'd read something with like the bartender who was working there at the time and was like, yeah, actually they knew each other, and like this was a video that was taken out of context.
Oh, I think that's something
That
maybe
was
his people
quickly.
said.
Well, I don't know about quickly,
Okay.
but it was.
I think
updated
somebody
throughout the
said that,
group.
like, no, he got thrown out of the place.
What was that, Connor? I didn't hear that.
No, I read something recently like that was from her perspective, and the way she describes it is totally not something like that's friendly or playful.
Okay. I wasn't sure. Then yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like that should have been the point where they're like, yeah, we really need to talk to this guy about this. Unless at that point he hadn't had his full mental
What you mean at the
breakdown.
first assault?
Yeah, exactly. Jesus
Well, then,
Christ.
then it was lockdown, so they went like COVID pushed that away.
Yeah.
I think I
Yeah.
remember we even like podcasted. I think it was like brought up, but like COVID was the best thing that ever happened to Ezra Miller because no one talked about that video ever again.
You're right. You're right. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, somebody did bring that up. Yeah, I just it's just there's so much shit that's happening to Warner Brothers, Discovery, whatever the horrible monster that it is now, all at the same time. It's like, oh my God, like how can any one company have this much misfortune hitting them at once?
Well, it's all their own doing.
They've always
like, it's
been
not
their own worst
misfortune.
enemy to me.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
and this is like this is the reality of it. I've been saying for years that some of these companies are just gonna tip over just because of the weight of everything. Somebody's gonna make a bad bet at some point, and they're gonna lose a lot of money, and it's gonna kill the company. I didn't think it would happen this way. I didn't think it would happen from the board members just like letting a guy in to ruthlessly scrap everything.
I guess let me recontextualize what I was trying to say. I guess it's more how rapidly it's been happening, because it was like Ezra Miller news, DC Discovery or Warner Brothers Discovery news. This Ezra Miller again, more horrible shit. Like,
Let's not forget that Amber Heard managed to
Mm.
sneak in there too at some point.
Yes, that's true.
All of that shit too, like literally and figuratively.
What's her name with the Harry Potter writer?
Well, that had been going on before COVID, I thought, though.
It beginning and it got there was lots of doubling down.
Okay.
And it was, remember, during COVID was when they started to push away from her. Is when they did the HBO thing.
Yeah,
she's
you're
not
right.
in it. It's all
You're right.
archive footage.
Yeah. It's also when they found out that one of the game developers was like a fucking evil chud or whatever, just a fucking real creepo.
So basically they've had nothing but bad news since the start of HBO Max. Great. Okay, cool.
I mean,
Jesus
and the Max
Christ.
app launch
No.
wasn't good. They
It was
weren't
not.
on Roku at launch, and at that time especially, that really meant something. Because not being on the most sold streaming box is kind of a big deal during the pandemic.
And there was all the confusion with
This episode is brought to you by Roku.
There's all the confusion of like, if you have HBO, does that mean you have Max? Or like, they had already had HBO Go, like, and then this is a new app, or is that turning into that?
Also, like, the much not debated but beloved but gone too soon Joker phone.
Jesus
which,
Christ. Never gonna let that die.
Well, no, now it would never actually happen now under DZ's tenure. They would produce about 1 billion of them, and then they would say we can't sell them and write it off for taxes.
Oh, they'd be like, fuck, who was it? I think it was THQ, a game company, had this like writing pad thing that I think connected to like your Xbox or your PlayStation, and they produced more than they could ever possibly sell, and it didn't sell well to begin with, and that's what drove them to bankruptcy.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So
The only
sorry.
other one I know about that did that was because my wife's cousins worked for that company, Majesco. They did like an NBA game that was supposed to be like Guitar Hero, but with dribbling. But
What?
like, and they spent like, and her cousin like went and traveled and like they did all this stuff and like met with like huge names. It's like, how many people have carpets in their living room where they play their game? How many people live in apartments?
I just that and like just kids would be breaking things all the time.
Yeah, it came with a basketball. Like
adults
I
were
got
breaking
it
things
because
with tiny controllers.
Yeah, the Wii.
Yeah, the Wiimote has killed many a TV.
Yeah, exactly. Or fan, or grandma's jaw, or whatever the case might be. But yeah, sorry, I had to look it up. It was THQ's U-Draw.
Oh, I feel like I remember.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
I feel like I saw this when I was working at
GameStop. Yeah.
Yeah, was it on the Wii U?
Yeah, I believe so.
Oh yeah, we definitely had these, and like they were just like in a pile, and no one touched them.
Yep. Well, they were garbage.
They were next to the 800 copies of Madden.
Jesus Christ. So, outside of all the Warner Brothers doom and gloom, has anybody watched anything interesting recently?
I mean, Eric, we both watched Nope. Should we talk about Nope?
Yeah, has everybody seen Nope yet?
Not yet.
Nope, but I'm probably not going to have time to, so spoil away.
Connor, do you care about spoilers?
Nah, you know what? Nah, I'm good. Go ahead.
Nope.
Connor never cares about spoilers.
Yeah,
okay. I just wanted
never
to check.
bothers me. It's like very rarely does a spoiler ever bug me.
So yeah, I gotta say, like, I really like this. I definitely liked it more than Us, but I still think Get Out is his best film.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think this is the one I'm going to revisit the most.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the most easily watchable, I think, of all of his movies.
Yeah.
And it's I agree with you on the Us thing. Us is just, it's a little bit too vague for my taste with a lot of the details. And this, I feel like he builds everything in a way that makes entirely all the sense. Like, yeah, there's no feeling of not
wanting more of an explanation.
Yes, exactly. Like there's just enough there where I'm willing to fill in some of the gaps myself, and just let the story be the story. And I had my own preconceived things about what I wanted it to be, especially based off that first trailer. But like, I really just like the weird like arcane details. I'm happy to learn or be reminded that like, oh, Jordan is like a weird conspiracy person as well. Like clearly, this is something that I remember realizing when I watched Us is like, oh, Jordan probably listens to a lot of the same podcasts that I listen to and watches maybe watches some of the same YouTube channels. And I was reminded of that in Nope. Like there's just some like weird little things in there, weird little like high strangeness and spookiness details that you have to be kind of in our realm of like knowing weird shit to put in there, even in the background, intentionally. And it feels intentional, some of the little weird details that he includes. And then like the actual creature, so interesting to me.
Yeah, I thought that was the best like thing that I had no idea going in, that the UFO that you see is the actual creature. So it's just this giant flying monster.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
and
awesome.
It's not to jump ahead a little bit before I get into some of the things I wanted to say, like Jordan Peele shows his anime nerd side so hard in this movie because it has the Akira bike slide and when you see what the alien looks like when it's like in its true form, it looks like an angel from Evangelion.
Yep.
Ooh,
And
very
Jordan
interesting.
Peele has said that this, like, Akira is one of his favorite movies, and Evangelion was an inspiration for the design of Jean Jacket, which is the name the monster goes by after a certain point in the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's actually a really great movie about how Hollywood mistreats animals too. Like, there's
Ooh.
that
Well,
subtext,
just
which
people
is
in general, which is
Mhm.
a fitting pairing with the rest of our other topics for the night.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, like it's I really like the way that it utilizes that theme. There is a subset of people who are confused by Gordy the chimp, um, uh, and I don't understand that. It seemed pretty obvious what the point of Gordy was. It's there to, like, underline what the point of the movie is about, and about, like, that sort of, taking advantage of animals, and about how animal behavior works.
Yeah.
And
Well, and
yeah,
knowing that, like, as anthropomorphized as you might make an animal, or, like, as
yes,
much as you want to believe it's your friend and you understand each other, like, no, no,
yeah,
that's not how life works. Like, there, you are constantly in a state of being predator or prey, and that's
mhm,
kind of a bigger thing in the movie too.
Yeah, my thing in
Like,
binary
just
was
with
always like, yeah,
Mhm.
it's cute and it's it's friendly, but like it's still an animal. Never forget that it's an animal and has teeth. And if it has teeth,
yeah.
Exactly.
it can bite you.
Connor, I think when you finally see it, I think you're really gonna dig some of the stuff that they do
Yeah.
with the animal stuff in the movie. The way that they treat the chimp, and the way that they treat the horses in the movie, and the way that they talk about the horses, um, and then the way that the characters learn these things naturally, and the characters who really have a deep connection to their animals are able to, like, deal with this whole situation better than other characters. Like, it's very, I appreciated a lot of it. And
hmm
there are going to be a lot of obvious Jaws comparisons, and
Yes.
they're there on purpose.
100%.
And there's definitely, like, an Indianapolis moment and so on and so forth. But, like, I think it manages to do that stuff and to do the Jaws references, but still be its own movie.
hmm
Um, not to shit on somebody else, but it's not like a JJ thing where I'm like, oh well, you just stole that. You just stole that moment from another thing. You're just wholesale taking something from another artist. This felt like recontextualizing, using the aspects of Jaws for the story he was trying to tell, and also just like, oh, it's fun to do this detail, but he's not. It doesn't feel like he's stealing
hmm
in the crudest sense. And I really appreciated that. But also the alien, like, the colors are, it's light white, gray on the bottom, and gray on the top, just dark gray on the top, very much like a shark. So it's like
Yeah.
it's there. It's it's very much there
Well, yeah,
in the.
it's he was able to take the looming threat
Yes.
feeling from Jaws so well and just apply it to Sky
Hmm.
Jaws,
Yeah.
basically. Because
And
I mean,
yeah.
Michael
Yeah.
Wincott coming in being the Quint character,
Does he have a
like,
sword?
Yes.
no, he
No.
does not,
But he
unfortunately.
does have a camera, which I think
Yeah,
serves the same
which
purpose as a
yeah,
sword in
yeah,
its own.
he wields it like a weapon. Yeah,
Yes.
so yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah.
who is what is the sister, the actress's name? It's Kiki. I can't remember her last
Kiki
name.
Palmer. Yeah.
Yeah, she
oh,
is
I didn't know she was
fucking
in that.
phenomenal in this. She is
Yeah.
so good in this movie.
She was in that J-Lo movie. It was like her last big movie, the
No idea.
stripper one.
Oh,
Oh,
that
the
one.
Hustlers. Hustlers. Yeah, she's great in
Yeah,
Hustlers
Hustlers.
too.
She was like a news anchor with Michael Strahan. They had like a TV show on the ABC for a while,
Huh.
Oh wow.
like a
I did
post
not
Good
know that.
Morning America thing.
Huh.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's
Yeah.
crazy trajectory. But yeah, she was great. Like, it's fuck, Michael, his last name I cannot pronounce for the life of me. The
So
Kiki's
the younger
brother.
actor. Daniel Kaluuya.
Daniel Kaluuya, that's
Um.
it. All right,
Yeah.
who was I thinking of then? Anyways, um he was great for what he was playing as well. Like
Mhm.
he nailed being the sullen like son of kind of a misbegotten time, and like
Yeah.
doesn't really seem to want to move on with his life. Which Keith David is in the movie, I will tell you that, but that's all I'm going to tell you. Those of you who haven't seen it yet.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
I like what they do with those characters. I like the way that the Daniel's character and Kiki's character, the way that they both emulate his character is very interesting in different ways. I really appreciated that, and I genuinely love their energy as a pairing.
Mhm.
You know, it's you don't see it a lot, but it's very Hemsworth, Tessa Thompson, like in just the weird
Okay.
synchronicity of their energies that I get off of them. And you know, I would watch a bad Men in Black sequel starring them. Is what I'm getting at. I don't
I
think we'll
still
be
have
getting
not seen
many
that
of those
movie.
anytime soon.
Same.
You don't
I
need
forgot
to.
it existed until just now.
I know. I'm glad to bring the memory of that film back to you, um, which was not
Is
not
it
a good
is okay? It's not worth seeing then. Okay, cool,
film. No,
good to know.
no,
Okay.
don't watch it.
No.
Oh,
Don't do it.
I wasn't sure. But
So
man, it
I
must have
mean,
hurt you.
if you need something to watch, I guess, but
I have too many things that I know are good to watch, so nah.
it's not any better than the other Men in Black sequels, which is why I'm saying skip it.
I like Men in
Just
Black 3 though.
watch the OG Men in Black, which is classic film at this
Is
point.
Men in Black 2 the one with Rosario?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
Yes,
because
that
three
one
is
three's the time travel one.
is with Josh
Three's
Brolin. Yeah.
three's
Mhm.
dumb. I like 2. I don't like 3.
I love 3.
I
I
like
don't like 3
never
at
aspects
seen
all.
of
3.
3 and 2. I like aspects of both of them. I like Laura Flynn Boyle as the villain in the second one. That's fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I like
And Johnny
Brolin.
Knoxville.
Yeah, and Brolin doing um, Tommy Lee is
Fucking
incredibly
fantastic.
entertaining. Yeah, yeah.
His fucking squinty scowl is spot on, and every time I fucking see it, I laugh my ass off.
It really is uncanny and kind of spooky. And I do like the guy playing the villain. One of the
Oh, it's
part of the Taika Waititi.
damn it, it's one of the Flight of the Conchords guys.
group.
Fucking
What's that guy's name? I can't remember. Jermaine.
it's
Jermaine.
Jermaine Clement.
Jermaine
Yeah.
Clement.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Can we talk about something I've wanted to talk about for a few weeks now that I haven't been around?
Yeah, what's that?
Fucking Vincent McMahon, my god.
All right, we're gonna let this happen because it is amazing what happened.
I wouldn't bring it up
amazing that
like
this actually
here,
happened.
like at this point, if it wasn't like something that I didn't even think I'd live to see. Let alone how it's gone down, the fact that it hasn't really ended yet and it keeps developing.
No, it hasn't ended yet. And, you know, as I've brought up many times, his life and Donald Trump's life are connected in ways that we don't understand yet. They've clearly done some sort of ritual that makes it so that neither of them can die until they're truly, truly dead. They can somehow just inevitably get out of every situation, even though everything around them crumbles into dust. It's really quite amazing the way in which they've just duped everybody like cartoon villains. Just like, whoop whoo, ha ha, you can't catch me.
I mean, Vince
really
already
just
ducked the
amazing.
government once before, and it was for the steroid trial. And like now, like this is just so.
Well, it kept getting worse. Like first, it was like he was under investigation for what was it, like 14.5 million?
Yeah, it was
something
like
like
No,
that.
it was like 4.
I think
I think
the
it was like
original
4
amount was like
million.
it was the first story was 4. The second one is like 7.
Okay.
And then like there
Okay.
was more, and then there was more, and like there was also like rape allegations, like sexual misconduct allegations, like all kinds of stuff that came with that stuff. So like,
Well, yeah, wasn't the money payoff money to get these women to shut up?
yeah, and then he passed one off to Johnny Ace, John Laurinaitis, the head of talent relations. The quote that was tossed around in the papers and all like the articles was like a toy, and then gave her like an extra $100,000. Something along those lines. That was the they called the illegal paralegal they hired. They hired some girl as a paralegal, even though she wasn't one.
Oh yes, and then he passed her to Johnny. What's his name?
Yeah, and then the other ones are all pretty unknown, but like, I just can't believe he used shareholder money. I thought he was insane, but not like that destructively stupid.
But I think it's like the whole thing where like he doesn't, and it's very Trumpian thing where it's like, if it's his company, it's his money, even though it's not his money, but like that's his mentality. And I think there's very similarities to, oh, these documents were given to me. They're my documents. I'm gonna put them in my closet at my golf
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
Like I think it's very similar mentalities going on there.
Absolutely, because they're both two man babies who believe that they own the world. And
Well, I mean, aren't
that
they close to the same age at this point?
I think so, and
they're
they're
around
also
the
they're
same
buddy
age,
too.
and
So
Yeah.
yeah, my understanding is that they're extremely close. I mean, that's why
Linda
was
keeps running for
head of the
Trump's
small
fucking
business.
cabinet.
Yeah.
And losing spectacularly
it's
every
very much
single
that.
time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can't even imagine the level of carniness if it was her and Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Brobert all like teaming up together. Like just the worst hillbillies on earth.
Well, the thing is, Linda has no personality. Like, so I don't know if she would just look like a block of wood between those two. Like, she doesn't really have like.
I think she would.
Any
She
character.
would.
You mean former secretary of small business, Linda McMahon?
She would absorb the worst traits from both of them, and that's how her personality would form. So somehow she would be this horrible like golem of hate.
She would
and
deliver
idiocy.
like mass shooting conspiracies, but whilst also sounding as bored to death as you possibly could every single time, because that woman has there's no energy to anything she does.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, to go back to like all this stuff, it's like, well, when we were during that whole Attitude Era, it's like that Mr. McMahon character. Wasn't there like a whole storyline with his secretary, Stacy Keibler thing?
There's that. He made Trish Stratus strip to her underwear in the ring on live television and made her bark like a fucking dog.
Yeah, and he's always been the bringing real life into the ring.
He made people kiss his actual real bare bottom on television. He's a fucking weirdo.
Yeah. Well, and so this is the thing, right? In situations like this, where somebody has to play a just slightly off version of themselves, that almost always, and if somebody can think of an example that I'm not thinking of, feel free to point it out. It always results in you outing yourself just a little bit, every single time. From Woody Allen to Vince McMahon, I bet you never thought I'd put them in the same sentence. But like, just when you think about it, it all fits. I mean, I can go down the list. Louis C.K.
Jesus Christ.
It just keeps on going, and it's always this thing of like, are they meaning to out themselves to give a little bit more of themselves than they want to? Or is it entirely just the nature of art where something's going to seep through? Some part of you is going to come through in your art. And again, art in quotes, as it pertains to Vince McMahon. But this can even go beyond artists, I would say. Performers, to make it more, widespread. I mean, who's the radio host that everybody loves? He's like the king of XM. Howard Stern. Right?
Yeah, that guy. Who's that guy?
I was confused by how you like.
Yeah.
I was like the most famous radio person of all time.
Right. Yeah.
Sure, whatever, that guy.
And you can quibble with how much of him is a character and how much is just the real person. He outed himself many times as being just like a real piece of shit. Over the course of his radio show, you can go back and find clips of him just like admitting to doing really horrid and vile things, and that's because it is so close to who he really is. Even again,
that's what made
his performance to what he was doing.
Yeah, well, that's what made him him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
which is very weird because now he's like the super clean cut guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and he actually has really good interviews.
I
Go ahead.
was gonna say,
Connor.
I like how fast we went from with the story to like the week it broke out, jumped on television, and he did this weird ass promo in the ring that was like 90 seconds, and he was basically like, "Oh, W stands for there, now, together, forever." Throws the microphone down and just walks off camera. And I guess like as he passed by everybody in the gorilla position, his comment was basically "fuck him," and then like 2 weeks later, he's resigning as the fucking CEO.
I just don't understand how it's taken this long to have this happen, where they're just like, wait a minute. Like,
Look how long it took
it
for
doesn't.
like the Jimmy Snuka thing to actually have any fucking progress on it too.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing's like I think he's
bastards have long careers.
Yes.
That's just how it works.
And he's a slippery one. Like he's already like fended off the government. Like he fended off another wrestling promotion. Like is the luckiest wacko billionaire I've ever seen in my life.
And he almost got his fucking wife into a Senate seat.
Yeah.
Yeah, by
And she
spending
wasn't
a
part of-
lot of money. And there's a great photo on the internet you can find of Vince reacting to the moment she lost, and it is a look of abject horror because he just watched like
all that money
$100
go down the
million
tubes.
just go up in smoke.
And you can't write that off on your taxes.
Nope.
No. I'm waiting for him to die and his ashes to be spread into the different seas of the world. And then for Paul Thomas Anderson to do a film about him. Because I think he can actually do a really good.
Ooh, oh wow!
Yeah,
Eric, you don't know how much I need that. How much I want that. Well,
yeah,
he could do a
man.
movie about his dad right now, though. Like,
but we need the salaciousness of
I
wrestling.
understand.
Yeah,
I agree. I completely agree. But like, you could tell a lot of that same story. But 100%, like the moment Vince dies, just do it. Just do it.
Yeah.
And get Stephanie's blessing. Just show her the script and like, and promise that you're not going to say anything about her or the current administration. It's all going to be
given that there's
stuff,
a rumor that she's one of the people who dropped the dime on him, she's probably pretty cooperative.
Right.
Well, the thing is, though,
it's a great power move by her.
She wouldn't want him to say anything about her like conception, like that her dad is actually Hulk Hogan or something like that. I don't know.
Well, the thing is, though, when Vince dies, she'll shrivel, like her flesh will melt away, and the rib bone that he used to create her will be all that's left.
Oh, see, in my head it was different. Like,
what the
his
fuck are those
essence
things
would
you
leave
put in
his
the bed?
body.
Like the roots you put under the bed and it grows into a oh, God damn, is it homunculus?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That's made out of hair and various stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, it's that's shit. Lou, you had said something. It brought something up, but I can't remember what it is now. So go ahead.
I was just saying, like, in my mind, it's more like his essence would leave his body and just go into her, and then he would become her.
Yeah, it'd be like Palpatine's spirit.
Yeah, like he is Palpatine.
Yeah, it's.
I honestly, a friend of mine had a point about like when like he'll die, and he thinks that without the WWE, it will probably be sooner than later because what the fuck else is going to do with his life? Because Vince doesn't have a fucking life outside of this industry for 40 years. Like, and he's also just a maniac too.
I mean,
he's gonna buy 32 Bichon Freeze dogs.
That is Arlen. That is terrifying and possible.
No, there's so
terrifying
many,
because of its possibility.
Yes, well, also that sentence. If you examine that sentence, that means presumably he's still running with Trump. It means that we haven't fixed that little problem. Between
honestly,
now
it's like that. That's like the amount of votes that people would like. Oh. Like,
no, it would be beyond even 2016 with the meme votes and the fake like.
Are you saying if you run for president?
I'm writing in this.
No, if he ran as Trump's vice president.
Oh my God, no! The thing is, here's the thing:
the write-in votes for wrestlers as like just like to be funny, and people like taking away from serious voting would just be out.
Also, Vince has like real stands out there. Like there are people who fucking worship the ground that guy walks on.
Well, he's like the entire company, and like all their stories have been like he worked all like so many of their stories are just right-wing propaganda.
Oh yeah,
for decades, for 70 years.
It makes all the sense to me, and it made all the sense to me that they were friends, and it just clicked for me. And I also
this is the same guy who booked a character on screen like a couple years after 9/11 of like a Middle Eastern character played by an Italian, by the way, who was just like staunchly anti-American, and he was deliberately playing into that kind of xenophobia.
Oh, you mean like when Sergeant Slaughter became a Saudi general?
And here's the thing: I understand why in the '80s he was able to do that with Iron Cheek. Yeah. But that doesn't make sense now. That doesn't play in the 2000s because
but it does.
No. This is
it does.
No. It plays to that crowd.
It plays to the crowd that wants to. Yes, it plays to the people.
It plays to the crowd that's watching wrestling every show.
The people that unironically listen to Toby Keith and the song about boots in asses. Yes, that crowd, absolutely. High point of music right there. High point of pop music. As we all know.
So something else I watched recently, and Connor, I know you'll want to chime in on this. I just watched the newest Candyman last night.
Fuck yeah!
Like, at first I was like, whatever. At first I was like, oh, okay, this is just going to kind of pay homage to the first one, and then it's like, oh no, this is a full-on sequel. Oh, that's awesome! Like, it just everything they did with it was so good.
I was like, fucking stoked with that ending. I love that ending so much.
It's a very good ending. It's one of those things where I'm like, yes. I was very excited in the theater. I really like the use of Virginia Madsen. Just in the tapes, that was really well done and eerie.
And like they could have done more Tony Todd, but honestly, the amount you get is fucking perfect. It is the best amount.
Yeah, no.
Well, Tony Todd's got to be like 80 at this point,
right?
Something like that.
They do one of the CG homunculi, but they hide it really well, and he's like mostly bees. I agree. I could have.
He's mostly bees.
He's mostly bees.
He's only 67.
Yeah, I mean, and he looks good for 67, but he doesn't look like he did in 1990.
Well, he's one of those guys that's kind of always just looked, because he's a huge fucking guy. Like, he's just always looked 45.
With the Candyman character, I wouldn't mind if he showed up looking a little bit older. With Paranormal, yes. I wouldn't mind if he showed up looking a little older because of the nature of that character, and he's so much informed by the people that are thinking about him. It's part of the lore that you imagining him is part of how he looks. So I wouldn't have been bothered by just him, or even
that
more
wasn't
of the homunculi.
That wasn't the impression I got, because like that what they showed at the end credits, like it looked like it was very specific. I mean, they all probably had the same outfit, but I mean, they showed like a little kid as a Candyman, and they showed like a couple different people. So I think it is like a specific person that will be wearing the outfit and the hook. Like you have to keep the traditional parts of it, but they would have a different face. Like it's like they implied at the end that like it's a hive of them. Like they look similar, but they are different Candymen.
Yeah, it is different Candyman, but I'm just saying, in the whole like keeping him alive aspect. Again, if they wanted to just have Tony Todd as not mostly bees show up, it wouldn't have been bothered, is what I'm saying. I wouldn't have been bothered if it was just him in the classic costume. But again, I respected the choice to be like, there are many different Candymen, and each different visage that the Candyman has is also important. But then my sort of flip side note is, well, show us a few more of them. We see like hints and glimpses of the other various Candymen. But like, I would have loved a moment where there's just like a room full of them, and they're all different actors. That would have been. I would have really loved that. That would creep me out immensely. But I really like the 70s guy that they like. The kids made the legends about, and they got him killed. Like that was so eerie and so well done.
I also like how they
all of it.
film when the Candyman strikes. Like it's never a clear shot, and
Yes.
it's like that one
Yes.
in the hotel room or the apartment, like where it was like across a city. It's this like real long distance shot, like no sound, no music, just ambient sound, and like a horrifying murder is happening in the fucking foreground.
Yeah.
The background.
Well, and they make it so like not difficult, but like if you're not paying attention, you're not going to notice it. You're just going to be like, why is it focusing on this viewscape or this cityscape that we're looking at? Like, because it's far enough away that you kind of have to know exactly where you're looking at to see the murder happen.
Yeah. If you watching her as the scene is kind of coming to an end.
Yeah. The only part of the kills, I guess, where I was like, oh, that's a little cheap, is the art gallery one. I thought that was like a little bit too B movie, like 80s slasher movie to me.
I feel like they went for spectacle with the first big kill.
Yes.
Like they wanted to let you know they weren't gonna like
here's your big stuff. Here's your big one with the red stuff.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. We're going there. We're not gonna shy away. This isn't an A24 movie. But yeah, again, it's just I'm shocked by some of the reaction to that movie, which I was making a joke about earlier. But it was like, what are you all talking about? How many of you have actually seen the OG Candyman? And
it's like you don't have to look that hard. Like he was a slave. There.
Yeah.
It's there. Well, it's in the. It is very clearly there. It's yeah.
Well, and I enjoyed the first Candyman, but I have a hard time believing there's that many diehard fans of Candyman.
Yes.
like
I agree.
It was an adequate fucking horror movie, and this new one makes it look much better than it was. But it wasn't anything that was this revelation that deserves the praise that anybody would give it.
Exactly. Yeah, I 100% agree. Like it's just a interesting watch that kind of has like a good word of mouth behind.
Look, there's hardcore Leprechaun fans, okay? Like,
yeah.
Well, it's also the Clive Barker-ness of it all too. Yeah,
I think and I mean Clive is coming back slowly but surely, putting more stuff out again, and which is I love that. I love that that's happening. You know, I like that there are two Hellraiser things happening. So if one of them is bad, well, just wait for the next one.
Joke's on me. They're both bad.
Oh God.
I don't think they will both be bad.
I don't have any suspicions or anything like that.
I still want to hate watch the one where Pinhead basically loses his job.
That's an even better way than you put it the last time. Or he's getting audited.
I need whatever. No, it was like that's his fucking job.
Yeah, he's getting like a performance review from a spooky man. Like the funniest fucking thing. It's also filmed in like several warehouse rooms, and like that's it. Like hell, like the afterlife in hell is like this dingy Saw room.
Awesome. So it's what in the 80s conservatives thought raves were like. Okay, cool. Fuck. But yeah, two new Hellraisers I could be very interested in, especially if they want to start taking stuff from some of his later books that start kind of tying some of his other characters together.
Yeah, I think that would be very interesting. I don't think we'll ever get a Nightbreed remake, but
no,
that's a good way to tie a lot of this stuff together. It's a good way to bring a lot of it, under one bandana, so.
Well, it's something I never got around to reading, but the detective from what is it? Lord of Illusions. He actually starts having a bigger role in more of the stories that Clive Barker was writing.
I did not know that.
That's interesting. That's Scott Bakula, right?
Yeah. It was Scott Bakula. It's like Harry Lamour or something like that. But
he was really good.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. It's one of those movies that like every time I've seen it since like the first time I saw it years ago, I'm like, oh yeah, this isn't half bad. I kind of want to sit around and watch this.
I keep thinking that about the first Wishmaster, but I'm not sure that's actually true.
I don't know. I don't remember enough about that movie to make that decision.
I just remember liking the Jin design, and beyond that, I'm like, did I like any of those movies? I've seen all of them. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think part of the reason I liked it was because I spent like 75 cents or like $1.25 to get like one of those metallic shiny stickers out of a machine at a grocery store, and it was Wishmaster. So I was just like, okay, I guess
Fair
I
enough.
like this movie now.
Well, you can imagine your own version of Wishmaster. It's like when you get a toy for a TV show that you've never seen, but you know the TV show exists, so you can imagine your own version of the show, which is something I never did as a child. I'm not speaking from personal experience. How dare you?
Well, that's you bring that up makes me wonder, like, how many kids were going to like Toys R Us and they saw like Todd McFarlane's Hellraiser toys or other horror movie toys, and they were far too young to see them, but they're still like, well, I'm going to buy that with my money.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah,
me?
the Cheetah woman
Oh, I was
warrior
Literally
robot.
me?
mesmerized when I first saw those.
This did happen to me. I think it was Todd McFarlane, but there was a set of toys at Toys R Us where it was like sexy
Haunted
cat
fairy
people.
tales?
No, it was specifically sexy cat people, and I bought the sexy cheetah
And
lady.
Hunter's not here to
Who
defend
had
it.
Why
Alright,
is
I
Hunter
have
not
to
on
do
this
this.
episode? God damn it.
He's like, I have the whole collection.
No, I only bought that one because I was very
No, I meant
poor.
Hunter
I
does,
did not have
probably.
money to buy the rest of them. Well, Hunter did, yes, absolutely. He bought the one that looks like a wolf. But I remember buying that. It's like, why did my mom allow me to buy this? It was something that I thought to myself later on. I was like, why did she do this when, and I don't know how much I've talked about this on the show, she was very strict about anything else to do with sex after that point that I can remember. Um, I was a little goblin when it came to that, admittedly, so I understand to some degree. But like,
Did you
why
have the
was
cheetah
she?
doll in a jar that you were filling up
No, I
while
have
and
not
Oh,
not with the cheetah doll, but like, I we've debated, or more like, I
there was
suggest and say
certainly some
I'm willing
baiting
to.
going on.
stop it.
I've suggested watching the 2005 Elektra movie and have been soundly told no, because that was a formative experience. That film for
That
me
woman
as
has
a
a
young
very exposed V
lad.
line.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, what is
Mm.
Electra showing Moose Knuckle? Is that what's going on?
Eric, look up that poster. Just look at it.
It's just
Just look
all
up the cover.
breasts.
It's
Okay. I thought you were talking
entirely,
about some camel
and
toe.
and
Okay.
that's what Jennifer Gardner is wearing almost the entirety of that 90-minute film. I think there's like a couple scenes where she's wearing like a sweatpants and a sweat jacket, but for the most part she is in just
Pajamas.
a very yeah.
Yeah, okay, I see what you mean. Leather pajamas, essentially.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Yeah, everything's pushed up, just very high up. And yeah, so that again, formative, very formative, and instructive in some ways. But yeah, so like that's my existence from 2005 to 2008. There, just like everything was a possible inspiration. Let's say.
Back to what Eric was saying. The first time I saw one of these things, I think it was like I needed to have was Clive Barker's Tortured Souls. I was like, I need those
Yep.
Cenobite knockoffs.
I remember those in East Brunswick Mall. I think it was like a Sunco or one of
I
those
mean, they
type of
were.
stores.
Yeah, they
Always
were
used
in
to
all
have,
kinds of VHS stores. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, but it was like a movie music store that also had those action figures for some reason.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Well,
they always had the
yeah,
back wall, had a bunch of toys. Like
Mhm.
once action figures became much bigger, they're like, all right, this is an easy moneymaker.
yeah. It's in the kind of stores that I don't know if they exist elsewhere, but like places, it's like movies, books, and stuff. But it's not like the Barnes and Noble where everything's clean. Like you
Oh,
can
like
find like
Second and Charles and fuck,
yeah,
there's a couple different things. I know what you're talking about.
yeah. It's like you'll find an Evil Dead Ash statue in there next to vinyl and comics and stuff like that, and yeah, yeah. So it's that kind of store, and that's the main place. That's where I I believe I bought my Cheetah figure. There are the Toys R Us, but like I remember seeing a lot of that stuff and thinking,
Did
oh,
you have to go
yeah,
behind beaded curtains at Toys R Us to go get your sexy cheetah figure?
no, no, I did not. That's the surprise. That's another surprising part. I didn't have to go through any curtains. If my memory serves, it was like in the front of the store somewhere.
Jesus Christ.
It was very right next to the Electra DVD. Maybe, possibly, I might have.
God, you had the weirdest boner.
On that note, I am
I
exhausted.
am what I am.
Yeah,
Fair
probably good time to start wrapping up.
Sure.
Unless you and Lou want to start talking about some mid '90s or early 2000s movie.
I
of
haven't
middling
seen
No, you
quality
were already
Otherwise, I'd
talking
call
about
your
those
bluff.
toys.
Jesus Christ.
Lou, do you want to talk about the movie School Ties for
No. Oh, God,
30
no.
minutes?
Yeah, I was gonna say, if anyway, I could talk
is-
about Summer School.
Wait, is School Ties the one that has Tyra Banks in it, and her boyfriend gets shot at the end by the Matthew Modine with his head shaved?
I want to know what that movie is. No, this is Brendan Fraser, and he's the secret Jewish student.
Okay, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, at the prep school. Oh, Brendan
It's
Fraser, the
barely
biggest
90s,
victim
yes.
of this Warner Brothers bullshit.
It might be. Well, because it was on HBO Max. I watched, yeah. But it just barely fits under the rule of me and Lou talking about 90s movies that most people haven't seen in years.
1992.
So, yeah. Mm-hmm. There's a young Matt Damon and a young Affleck in there.
And
So
Chris
that's
We're
O'Donnell.
doing it. We let them do it.
Oh, there's actually like a lot of people in this movie.
There actually is a lot of people in this movie, but I actually
look what you did, Eric. Look
like I
what
said,
you
it's
did.
happening. It's actually happening.
Eric, you started this. You allowed this to happen.
Oh, and the movie I was thinking of was Higher Learning.
Higher
Oh,
Learning. I
yes.
understand why you. I can see it. I get it. Why
It just sorry, real quick. The reason why I thought of that was because I saw that movie in the theater, and I was wearing a Rage Against the Machine shirt. I had Doc Martens on, and I'd shaved my head recently.
Right. Yeah.
And the Nazi in that movie is listening to Rage Against the Machine at one point.
Right.
Yeah, so that was a real bad look coming out of the local city theater with that whole ensemble on. So yeah, that's all I want to
Later
get.
on, the drummer of Rage Against the Machine, who was it that got kicked out for being a fucking trumper? I can't remember which one.
I didn't hear about any of that.
It was
Trap.
No, there was a member of Rage Against the Machine, I think, who got booted though. But yeah, Trapped are the ones who were douchebag Trump supporters. Anyway,
I did not find the figure that Arlen was looking at, but I did find one that I remember that McFarlane putting in the chat. That I definitely saw it, and that's McFarlane figure.
That is absolutely McFarlane figure, the one that you're looking at. Yeah, absolutely. If I find the Cheetah figure that I'm thinking of, I will make that the show art if I can find it.
Anytime I put in Cheetah action figure, it's just the DC Comics character.
No, this was like a collection. She was part of a universe. It was like
she was special.
Thundercats, but
there was a deep and rich fiction.
No, there's clearly meant to be like a lore behind this that you're supposed to understand.
Just keep digging yourself.
God, let's get out of this.
Yeah, please. Yeah, let's end the show.
All right. Well, we got to do the plugs.
I
right?
have
All
absolutely nothing to plug.
Anybody got plugs?
I have nothing to plug.
All right. Well, fine then.
What am I gonna? What am I gonna plug?
My other show has new episodes coming out. We are gonna finish the Bond movies now that other Eric is back from vacation and I'm comfortably moved into my new place. So look forward to that. That episode should be going up around the same time as this one. So yeah, that's all I got. Bye.
Bye, everybody.